Dr. Wood, author of the book Miracles Minutes, and the title of this video is Ants is the Norm. Ants, automatic, negative thoughts. In psychology, they show that 70% of all human thinking, which your thoughts aren't you, by the way, is negative thinking. And so an undisciplined mind just tends to believe every thought that it has, and people live a life of quiet desperation and self-sabotage. Part of this video is about healthcare. It's about your relationships and your finances and why your life's not working out, because you live in automatic negative thoughts. And then there's something called identity, which once you identify with the thoughts, you become that. That's what identity is. So I'm going to cover a little of this concept and how is it relevant, how is it germane to your health care. If you come to see me as a patient, or if I work with you in a coaching session, or if you want to have a better relationship, or you want to do better in your finances, why are we talking about this stuff? Because if you're self-defeated before you start, it doesn't matter what we do as far as clinical, or it doesn't matter how many seminars you go to. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It is a fruitless effort. You know, it's almost like in the movie Star Wars, and Yoda says, "Don't try, stop trying, just do." So how do we overcome this? And it's not easy, and that's why you need usually a coach or a good mentor or a psychologist or a great doctor to help you through that. Then you're going to need accountability, because you've practiced defeating yourself and identifying as X for so long. You develop something called a resignation bias. You give up, or you've given up, and then you act like you're trying to make yourself feel better emotionally. Identity. This comes from the work of Marshall Goldsmith. It's the identity matrix, the programmed identity. Your mothers, preachers, teachers. This is who you are. This is what you are. This is what it is. This is how you've been. Okay? And then there is the reflected identity. Well, I've always been sad. I've never been good at sports. I've never been good at math. So my identity is I am a person who's not good at math. And my mama told me so too, and so did my teachers. I can't. I just wasn't born with the math gift. I was just born to be miserable. This is who I am. Actually, a remembered identity, programmed identity, reflected identity. So once these two kind of come together, and then you project out, it's also, let me give you another construct. So one of the things I listened to a long, long time ago was Will Smith and Will's wisdom. So he's born in the streets of Philadelphia. He's a poor black man in an area with a lot of drugs going on. Okay? Now, all he sees around him is drug dealing. And 50 Cent was the same way. You know, only way, this is who I am as a black man in society in America, and this is the narrative, and this is the way it is. Or maybe it isn't. Maybe it isn't. So that's called a created identity. You don't identify with the people who told you you're certain things, or your preachers and teachers and, you know, the media that loves to keep you down and defeated. The news doesn't help you, particularly if you're a particular race or gender. We don't want you to be something other than what you're supposed to be. Heaven forbid you think for yourself and do something different. You need to fit into our narrative. Be that and vote for me. God forbid you become successful and have a great life, because then they don't need you. Then you don't need them. So created identity. Let's go into Will Smith. So Will was out there, and his father, you know, they taught them to not to think about where they are, but to keep their eyes focused on where they're going. And where he was going was his created identity. He kind of believed in himself. Where he was right now didn't matter. And that is the whole biblical message. And even the poem If by Rudyard Kipling, you know, it's not what's happening outside. And even Marcus Aurelius, the great, you know, philosopher and Caesar of Rome, who's one of the best Caesars that ever was, all the great wisdom great people who've done great things all came to this conclusion that I'm not what I do, I'm not what I have, and I'm not what's going on around me. And that's hard because what you monkey see, monkey do, what you see going on around you, you can get morphed into the Borg and become that. So you believe that you're not good at math. You believe that you're meant to. You're just a chronically depressed person. It's the way I've always been. It's actually just what you've practiced, and you're just identifying with that. The truth is, you can make a new choice, and you're going to use your imagination to do that. So, and I cover this because as a doctor taking care of patients, if a patient doesn't have a clear and distinct goal of who they are and what they want to become, then you can't become that. It has to be more than just words. It has to be more than lip service. It has to be VAC, visual. What does it look like? What does it look like to you? Auditory, what's it sound like? Write it down. And then you're going to need to look at what you wrote down and see, as you're trying to create something positive in your life, if it's filled with negative dialogue. I want to be healthy. What's that mean? I don't want to be sick. Well, that's a mind screw right there. To you, health is not sick. Guess what your brain focuses on? Sickness. So it creates sickness. And then it's going to go into its identity. It's going to go into its memory banks. It goes, oh, I know how to be sick. I remember what it was like to be sick. I remember what it felt like to be sick. So your goal of healthy is not sick or not have back pain. The only thing the brain is going to do is create more of the same. It's neurology. I didn't make this. I'm just teaching you how to use your own brain and use it to work for you versus against you. And see, it's working against you. That's the way school taught us. That's the way society taught us, and it's indoctrinated everywhere. Heaven forbid you learn to think for yourself and you get free from the master's task whip. They can't control you anymore, and that's the way you rule. You rule society by fear. Let me scare you. Brene Brown talks about that, a culture of fear, and all that fear. You know what prevents? It prevents love in your life. It prevents you from being vulnerable. It prevents you from taking risk, and for you to become something new or have something good or to have love in your life or to have great health, you're going to have to step outside the norm of what everyone else does. See, if you do what everyone else does, you'll have what they have. And here's the odds. 90% of people don't make it. Okay? So if you do what most of your friends do, chances are you're not going to make it. What does the 10% do? What do the 3% do that make it? They think totally different. So their thinking's different, their beliefs are different, and therefore their actions are different, and therefore their results are different. God forbid we teach you what they do, because you're pretty much guaranteed success. You'll have it all. School doesn't really help you learn all the things you need to learn. It's all about how good you score on a math score. That may help you, it may not. Become successful in life. The important things of learning how to use your brain appropriately and properly. It's not the outcome, it's the thinking that you want that causes the outcome. So when you learn to think rightly, you can consistently produce the outcome. Consistently. And that's what gives you confidence, and that what makes you a very skilled person. And then there's no longer a reason to be afraid, because I trust my thinking. I have great thinking. I make great decisions, and therefore I always produce a great result. Almost guaranteed. And you just have to overcome the identity matrix. And it's creating a visual, auditory, kinesthetic. And the kinesthetic is where, or the feeling is what drives it, because feeling or emotion is what puts your ass in motion with a clear goal. I mean, if I motivate you and get the motions up and the feelings up and you have a wrong image, as Jim Rohn say, well, you have a motivated idiot. Just being motivated alone doesn't help you. You know, you have to see it. You have to. It has to be in word, written. It has to be written down, because that activates your reticular activating system, a part of your brain that actually says, "Hey, remember this," and it keeps reminding you of this is what you're identifying with and this is what you're saying you're going to do. Therefore, your unconscious mind starts to like give you a little bit of guilt when you don't do what you say you're going to do. As long as you don't make it wrong, I just need to get busy. So anyway, it requires discipline, and a lot of times you need coaching. So I'm sharing this information with you. If you want to lose weight, if you want to have a better body in the gym, you want to look good, then let's teach you how to use your brain appropriately before you take action, because a lot of action without a image or a goal or a proper identity is your chances of success is almost zero. Okay, so I don't want you to share with you all this wonderful information and you go, this shit's not working out, man. Why not? And just like the the movie The Secret, it talks about the visualization, but there's some other things that kind of go into it, and you still need skills. You can hope and wish in your bedroom all you want, but I doubt God's going to drop a girl from the ceiling, or the the winning lottery ticket's going to fall in your hand and you're going to have that successful business. It's action. And it's taking the right actions, and you'll kind of figure that out along the way. So it's Dr. Wood, and teaching you about ants. Automatic negative thoughts is the norm. Okay, so it's just an undisciplined mind. It's going to be negative. It's going to be chaos, and you're going to have drama in your life. So you can medicate yourself and get into busyness and all that stuff, but what is it you do want? Let's get clear and distinct on that. What does it look like to you? What's it sound like? Write it down. And then because actually what you're really chasing is the feeling. So go ahead and create the feeling now, and then wire it all together with the image, the talk, and the feeling. Boom, you're a rocket ship. Boom, it's going to happen. So Dr. Wood, hope this helps you.